everyone. Welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today, we're going to be checking out our EastonMade STK24 a little bit closer and talking about why that a firewood conveyor might be a good investment for your property or for your firewood business. So before we get started into that, I'd also like to give a special shout out to everyone that has subscribed to the channel and shown your support. I really appreciate that. To celebrate that, we've got something special coming up, so stay tuned to the end of the video to find out what that is. So let's go through and take a look at some of the features on this machine. We've got our Galtech valves. You've got a lift to raise your conveyor height up and down, and then you've got your chain drive, and it has forward, which locks into place whenever you flip the lever. So that lever locks in and it stays in forward, and then you can bring it back down, and if you get something maybe stuck in there or something, then it does have reverse that you can push it down and you can work that chain back down if there's something get lodged in there or something like that. So far, I haven't had any troubles with that, but it's there just in case you need it. The hydraulic tank on here, it isn't very big. It's only a few gallons. It just really doesn't need a high capacity tank. But then, of course, you're connected up here to your Honda GX200. This little motor right here is a gas sipper. I mean, it doesn't hardly use anything. You can run this thing all day long easy on a tank of gas. You really only need this thing just right around an idle or barely above an idle to run the machine. It works just fine that way, and it'll sit there and run pretty much all day. This is a 24-foot conveyor, and when you have this thing raised all the way up to its full extended height, it actually has a piling height of about 14 feet. And as you can see here, I'm not all the way extended up to the full height, so I have quite a lot of capacity left over here on my firewood pile. The conveyor itself is actually built with 1/8 inch plate, so it's nice and durable. It's going to last a long time. And check this out. One cool thing about the way that this is made, the way that the chain rides, there's actually a raised portion here that the sides of the chain do not ride on the deck of the conveyor. The rollers actually ride on that raised portion here, so that as this chain is going up, then these rollers are rolling on that, and there's pretty much no friction on that whatsoever. So this thing's going to run and last for years and years because there's no wear on the metal. There's no friction there. I've run quite a bit through this. As you can see, the powder coat is not wore off of this yet. And I've run probably at least 4 or 5 cords of wood through this. And the dark coloration is actually the oil, where I put oil on it. You can see that wipes off. So it's not even started to wear through the paint on this at all after running 4 cords of wood through it. EastonMade has made this machine very transportable, so you can lower this thing down. You've got your 13-inch highway tires on here. I think pretty much about anybody recommends that you keep the speeds like below 55 miles an hour or something like that. You don't have any lights or anything on this kind of equipment, but if you do need to transport it, I mean, it's set up to be able to take it on the highway. You've got greasable hubs and stuff on here, and you can take it and get it to where you need to go to be able to use it. So let's talk about a few of the reasons why you might want to invest in a firewood conveyor. Number one, you actually have a firewood business and are needing something to help you with production. So there's nothing more productive really than, you know, if you've got a good splitter. Actually, it wouldn't even matter whether it's a commercial splitter, any splitter. Instead of you having to throw wood off the side of the splitter and do it yourself and have a pile there and then move that pile again, you know, you could actually split off of the splitter directly into either where you're going to stockpile wood, or you could do it directly into the back of a truck or a trailer in order to save time instead of having to handle that wood multiple times. So saving time and money are kind of the idea with having a firewood conveyor, which we'll talk about some of the pros and cons, because the money part of it also can be a downside to it, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. If you're someone like me, I just split firewood mostly for myself. I'm looking to possibly get into selling a little bit of firewood here and there. I actually did sell a little bit this year, but not very much. I didn't want to start advertising it and kind of get overwhelmed with needing to produce firewood. As I just have a lot of other irons in the fire. You know, I've got a huge fence project coming up. We mow hay and do all that kind of stuff through the summertime. So I just didn't want to get too overwhelmed with what was going on. But I do look to expand it each year as I'm going, And, you know, in order to do that for myself, I need to produce things faster and more efficiently. So for me, a firewood conveyor is very efficient because 98% of the time I'm out here doing this by myself. You know, and if you don't have somebody to be able to throw the wood up into a pile and keep your splitter clear, then you have to do it yourself, which then you have to stop splitting wood, move up to the front of the machine, clear it off, or toss it up onto a big pile. And, you know, that can take a lot of time, and not being able to split during that time that you're having to do that really slows down your production. So for me, what I've decided to do is stockpile a huge pile of wood and kind of work out of that. I will end up taking wood out of this pile and stacking it, you know, like in my wood shed for my personal use, and then I'll probably take it out of there and also stack it in other places to have it measured out. Now I know that that's actually handling the wood an extra time to have to take it from your wood pile and stack it, but I can get everything in a much more condensed area with the conveyor and store it in one place until I'm ready to stack it. Now it'll still season piled up here. You know, there's a lot of mixed things about this, but some people say it doesn't season as well if you've got it piled up in a big pile. Some people say it don't matter. But like I say, in what I plan on doing myself is working out of this pile for now and stacking my own firewood. I'll stack about 4 cords underneath my shed, and then I'll probably separate some places. I'll have 1 cord sections divided up and stacked up for stuff that I want to sell, because I do want to be able to sell it in a measured amount and not tell somebody, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell you a pickup truck load. Or I mean, those kind of measurements can be so different from one to the other. Having a grizzly chip separator is also another benefit of having a conveyor, and that's simply because you've got stages of cleaning your firewood. That separates all the little tiny debris and the small stuff that would basically be waste products pretty much from your firewood. And if you end up, you know, a lot of people may be using a firewood bucket, and if you've got a bunch of debris, that goes down on the bottom. Well, you scoop from the bottom with your firewood bucket, and then you pick up a lot of that debris, and then you're dumping it and loading it into people's vehicle or into a trailer or whatever, and you have all that debris. So if you can separate it out, that's another time saver, plus it gives you a better quality of firewood. Not only does the grizzly chip separator help, but also as you have firewood come off of your splitter, debris falls down in here, and a lot of the small stuff actually gets separated right here. There's actually a flap right there. As the bars come through, then they raise the flap up, and that small debris will fall out of there and not get carried up the conveyor. As you can see down here under the machine, there's a pile of wood chips and stuff down here that has been separated. And you actually see this pile. This is a bunch of dirt and debris. I moved the conveyor backwards, and this is the pile of debris that comes out this end, and that's a whole bunch of trash that you don't want in your firewood. So kind of just some pros and cons of the machine. You know, if you have a firewood business, like the old saying goes, time is money. So a time saver is what this is, because again, you don't have multiple stages of handling it yourself. It acts as a second person pretty much. You know, and speaking of a second person, it's a reliable second person. You don't have to worry about them not showing up for work. If you come out to work, your help is going to be here regardless of what time of day, what time of night. I mean, it's here. That's actually worth some investment right there, just simply because having reliable help makes a huge difference when you go out to work and try to get a job done. So another thing that's commonly used, like with a firewood conveyor, a lot of people will load a dump trailer or pickup truck straight off the splitter. And once again, you only need one person to do that, and it's basically half your time, because if you've got, again, the splitter and you get a few pieces split, and then you have to walk up there and throw them into the back of the truck, and then walk back to the splitter and split a few more pieces, and then do the same thing over and over. Time is one of the biggest pros I can say with having a firewood conveyor. And like I say, whether it's for your business or for your personal use, in my case, I try to do a lot of wood in a short period of time, and I try to get my entire winter's worth of firewood within just a few days, so that I'm not having to continuously go out there. Now, don't get me wrong, because I do love to split firewood and, you know, go out in the woods and do all this kind of stuff, but I'm very limited, especially through the winter time, because that is actually the busiest time for my job. So I rely on effective use of my time. Another benefit to our EastonMade STK24 is actually that it's very economical. It doesn't cost very much to operate the conveyor. So once you do get past that initial investment, then you don't have a huge amount of money in running it all the time. In fact, you can run this thing like 8 to 10 hours on 1 gallon of gasoline. With our EastonMade 916 wood splitter, I can actually produce 1.5 cords an hour. So over an 8-hour period, I can produce 12 cords of firewood. Well, that 12 cords of firewood only costs what a gallon of gas does to operate the conveyor. So it's very economical to run it. So the only real con that I can think of to a firewood conveyor, simply the initial investment. You know, it costs quite a bit of money to get into it, but if you are trying to start a firewood business, or again, trying to save on your time, how much is your time worth? And how much is it going to cost if you're trying to have a firewood business and you're paying an employee to help you out? I mean, it's going to be easy to recoup that cost of what's in a firewood conveyor versus what you get back out of it. So I hope this video helps someone out to kind of understand, you know, some of the benefits and stuff to having a firewood conveyor. There's not too many cons to having one other than that initial investment to get into it. But after that, it's low upkeep, it's high production. Like they always say, time is money. So thanks for watching the video today and sticking around to the end. I said at the beginning of the video, I kind of have a special announcement and some things going on. So let me tell you a little bit about that. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for subscribing to the channel. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button and follow along with us with all the things we got going on around the property. We have passed the 2,400 subscriber mark, and we're on the push to, you know, heading towards that 5,000 mark. Kind of in celebration of having our new firewood conveyor, our EastonMade STK24, we're going to do a giveaway, and we're going to be giving away something kind of special this time in our push to 5,000 subscribers. Those that have already subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate you following along with us and supporting the channel, leaving comments and that kind of stuff. It just means the world to me. Their channel's growing. I just really appreciate it. So in order to show that, like I say, we're going to be giving away a Stihl MS-170 chainsaw. Not this particular chainsaw, because this is the one that I use and it's full of oil and gas and it's used. So what I'm going to do on the drawing is, whenever the winner is drawn, I will go to the store, buy it, register it in their name, and ship it to their house. That way they get a brand new chainsaw and they get the warranty and everything with it. So guys, once again, thanks for all the support. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Make sure that if you're not a subscriber, to go ahead and subscribe, share the video, comment down below, hit the thumbs up button, get in on the drawing for the Stihl MS-170 chainsaw, and thanks for watching.